Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
75% of all deals done in the world are done the last 60 days of the year. Why? The same panic mode. The same panic. And even though banks and the big investment banks won't tell you, they want to get a bonus. They say it has nothing to do with their bonus structure, which is a fucking lie, but they want to get a bonus, and the only way you get a bonus is, sell and or buy stuff. And that's what the model is based on. Okay, it's emotional bank account, okay, but it's timing. Timing is everything. So far, I only talked about timing with one of you guys that's come in to see me, but timing is everything. And it's not too late. Now, for those of you that have already put a team together, probably they're dog shit, but giving you the benefit of the doubt, they're not dog shit. You can still do a deal this year. And since most of you are starving to death, that's what you like. But you equate your first deal with cash flow, and that's wrong. That rarely happens. It does happen, but rarely. And when we teach you that how to, when you go to, I say a farmer, he's not a farmer, Farmer Jones from Kansas, and he's got a $50 million company, and he doesn't have a line of credit or an overdraft, and you say, and he's got a capability of having a $5 million, normally it's about 10% of your revenue. You can get it as an overdraft or a line of credit. Well, you draw down on the line of credit you never use, $5 million. We'll add it to the purchase price. Got me? We'll add it to the purchase price, and we'll use that to pay fees, because the only problem, if it is a problem, is with a seller finance, there's no cash flow generated normally to pay you, the lawyers, the accountants. And as soon as your lawyers and accountants figure out, or you tell them, and I believe in full transparency, that you're going to be doing most of your stuff seller finance, if they don't back away, because sometimes they do, because that means they're not getting fucking paid. And even when you say, I'll take care of you, that used to mean something. It doesn't mean any shit. Not a fucking thing now. But when you draw down on their $5 million line of credit, you can pay the lawyers and accountants, although you're on a success fee basis, and you can even have some distribution for the board. Because the board isn't going to get paid until you have cash flow, and the board gets paid based on transactions. And they're taking part in the transactions. You've got 7 board members and only 2 worked on those are the only 2 that deserve any money. So the way that you show them is you give everybody else, let's say, a couple $100,000, and you give him 1,000. Well, if 5 of the board members got 1,000 and 2 of the board members got $200,000-300,000 each, if that doesn't even successfully exclude, that sends a message even to the most moronic, stupid board member you have, and they'll quit. And if they don't quit the first deal, so you don't have to fight with them and take the stock back, which I'm going to explain to you how you take the stock back later. But Anelli has not perfected that. He's doing it almost as good as I did a long, long time ago. But if you're not following successful patterns, fact patterns, what the hell are you doing? One of the challenges you're going to have with the program is you're going to think that the letters don't work, the emails, the scripts. I already told you, don't change your script no matter what. But you're going to change your script. You're going to think the script is too short. The QLA seminar is not just a seminar. It is a blueprint for creating generational wealth as fast as humanly possible. I teach you how to turn nothing into millions, billions, and even trillions. If you want to take control of your life, to create a legacy that lasts for generations, the time is now. Do not wait for the right moment. The right moment is this moment. Be bold, be selfish, be ruthless, and take no prisoners. I will still do seminars, but I won't be able to do this forever. Act now or not at your own peril. Thank you very much. These are not just the best practices. These practices worked yesterday. So it's not, it's not like does it still work? TK is doing deals yesterday. Well, he was here yesterday. I don't know if he did anything yesterday, but the day before yesterday. But you'll find it can't be this easy. So you'll change the scripts, or you'll send Michael Pierce's Brownstone was the name of the company, out deal, engage in self-sabotaging activities, stepping on your dick. But if you don't do any of the QLA program, once you leave here, if you just follow this mantra, most of the things you do right now that don't work for you don't work for anybody. But you continue to use them because you've got a brother-in-law or a cousin or a father-in-law or somebody that says this is the way you do it. And it's not the way. It's not the way. And to the extent that you can reduce or eliminate totally equity investments, you'll still have a lion's share of this when you get ready to exit. And everything we buy, it's with an exit in mind. Some of you will try to time it. I let, when the market, when Buffett and 6 out of the 10 big money guys say the market's overvalued, it's probably overvalued. And you don't have to sell that day, but you sell into the rising market. Into the rising market. There's no good way in a falling market, trying to catch a knife, there's no good way. And my experience has been, the sooner you make the liquidation, the better off you are. Last night you saw whom? Professor Roberts. At the end of his talk, I said, I believe 95% of the things that Raymond did, I've never done, or something like that. Didn't I? Yeah. And it's the truth. He's not the most detail-oriented guy I have, but he's one of the most. And he is a detail freak. And that's, when he comes down the stairs to tell his Vietnamese wife, by 5 o'clock, and we'll talk about closing techniques, 5 o'clock by Friday or blah, 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 we'll talk about that. The 7th or 8th one, they said yes. And, now, because it was important to him to know every single detail of how the deal got done. I still don't know after 50 years. I still don't know. For some of you guys, and maybe the gal that are detail freaks, I'm a macro manager. I'm a Concorde guy, and I happen to fly in one of the last Concordes, which is a lot of fun. They tell me it's going to come back. I don't know if it is or not. In macro, it was good enough. It's good enough. What are any comments about Raymond, other than he's a detail freak? Yes, sir.
He has a strong, confident approach. He has a commanding presence, and he negotiates hard. He negotiates for every step of the way.
He beats them over paper clips, which is at my end of the continuum. I'm tougher than he is, but he beats them over paper clips. And that's no exaggeration. Yeah.
He's an animal. He wants to maximize, get the best deal possible. So he's looking for, like he said, the D's, and he just doesn't care. He's an animal.
And he blames it. The excuse he uses, he's got 2 or 3 shareholders. The shareholders don't give a fuck, believe me, because I know these guys. They couldn't give a shit less. But that's the excuse he uses. I got to do it for the shareholders, which I find amusing myself. But he's a workaholic animal. And the level of detail that he's aware of in a transaction is unbelievable. But still, 95% of the stuff that he personally handled, now he handles less and less now, but the first 2, 3 deals, he knew everything. And that helps him with his level of confidence. And because early in his business life, I think he says, I sold to a PE firm, and he thought that he made a good deal. but he wasn't as detail-oriented when he sold. And then over time, he found out he got fucked. Now, if you get a great deal from a PE firm, it's by accident. Serendipity. And the best the time to buy things from a PE firm is when the year, their 7 or 8 years is ending. And a sign to buy stuff from a PE firm is when the partners leave before that 7 or 8 years is up. Because the partners have figured out we're not going to make any money in this fucking hog. Or not enough money. And you think making 20 million or 25 million was enough, but to a lot of people it's not enough. Because they see other people making 600 million. And if you see that enough years, I mean, fuck, well, why am I still here? So they leave. So that's a good time to buy from them. What else about Raymond? Yes, sir.
When was he in the seminar?
Pardon?
Well, when did he attend his seminar?
When did he?
Attend.
2020. It took him 822 days or something to do the first deal, if I remember. 800 some days. 2021? Yeah, 821 days. Okay. Which most people that take that long don't tell me about it. Because that's embarrassingly long to get a deal done. And but he attended about. He's been here, and he went to the hardcore right after that. He went to the seminar like in October, and he went to the hardcore in December. So it was after Corona started. A lot of people think that Corona killed our business. It didn't. But he's bought contractors that rolled up contracts. So every one of his deals has 1 or 2 or 3 contracts in it, which, to my best of my knowledge, none of the kids will have done that I'm aware of anyway. And he now has, it's like a machine. Arguably, I told him in the beginning he had too many employees, but he was building. He was building the infrastructure, the beginnings of a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure, and so now he's filled out, and I still think he's got 10 or 15% fat. Not the kind of fat you're going to add. You're going to add a whole different kind of fat. But he's done a terrific job. And when he came here, and he's kind of my designated hitter. If one of the speakers falls out or something, he'll come here. And but he's a long-winded, tedious guy. But the stuff he says is right on. Otherwise, I wouldn't allow him to say it. But you don't have to do that. In fact, I suggest you don't do that. But a couple of you control freaks in the group, you're going to tend to lean towards his methodology. But you won't tend to lean towards his harshness. See, you don't mind doing all the grunt work in detail. But beating people to death and leaving them for dead in the gutter, you won't do. And that's the last 10 or 20% of the deal. Everybody understand that? The last 10 or 20, 25% of the deal is leaving them for dead. And they're bleeding out. I can tell by just looking at your faces, that's not in your repertoire. Okay, YouTube, thank you.